Hello, everyone. Welcome to Deadpan Ghosts, the only show hosted by two real life ghosts. We are, of course, a podcast. You couldn't capture footage of us even if you wanted to. But that just means you get to sit back and relax as two ghosts haunt the iconic 1999 twist M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Sixth Sense. My name is Vernon, joined by my best ghost friend, Jonathan.
That's me.
And as always, we have just floated out of the room in which the people we haunt watch movies. Now, before I ask Jonathan what the heck I just experienced, this is a horror podcast, and as such, we will be discussing mature and often disturbing subject matter. This movie is no exception, and there is a complete list of content warnings for this episode down in the description. Please check it out if you haven't seen the movie. With that said, Jonathan, boo!
Ah! Oh my, oh my gosh, you can't do that to me, Vernon.
What did I just watch?
What we just watched is the classic 1999 thriller, supernatural thriller, that is, The Sixth Sense. So, you have your regular five senses, and this movie's got a sixth one,
The
right?
poster lines them all up. It's like, I think it's sight, sound, and there's a couple more, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. Smell, taste, and touch. Hard to recall as a ghost, I understand.
That was perfect. That was perfect.
Thank you. And who's in this movie? Vernon?
Oh my gosh. This is a Bruce Willis movie.
Yeah, giving a pretty sensitive performance, notably sensitive for this point in his career.
Oh
Um,
yeah. I think one of the most emotional.
oh yeah, yeah. He came up on action movies, Die Hard, naturally, and others, but mainly that. And he kills it in this, I think. Also in the cast, we've got Haley Joel Osment, who,
Yes.
if you're unaware, was a very popular child actor in the late '90s and early 2000s, and he kind of stopped getting a lot of work once he started getting older, which is a shame. But he was
But this was like the first role, right?
I don't think it's his first role. There are a couple of movies that might have come out first, like Pay It Forward and such. Um, let's take a look since you've.
Oh yeah. Bum 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 bum. Live research. Yeah, Haley Joel Osment does
Oh, I
is,
was I was
very
wrong.
surprising and sensational. You're wrong.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He was surprising and sensational as a child actor. Pay It Forward came out after The Sixth Sense. Let's see what else he did.
I think Haley Joel Osment brings the best out of Bruce Willis, actually. Like working off of each other,
Yeah.
that Bruce Willis hits his maybe his best performance I've ever seen.
Oh, it's something else watching them play off of each other. Yeah. And especially with, you know, the way the movie goes and everything, which we will get into. It looks like he didn't really have a whole lot aside from TV before The Sixth
Yeah,
Sense,
this is a
though.
breakout role.
Yeah. Oh, but you know what he was in 1994? He was in Forrest Gump. He was Forrest's son at the end of the movie.
Oh my
So
gosh.
really young.
Spoiler.
Well, whatever,
No,
we're not here to It's 1994. Come on, folks. But
Forrest Gump has a son? I've seen it and I didn't know.
yeah, yeah, you've forgotten. It's near the end of the movie, surprise son. Um,
Right, Jenny.
and
Never
then yeah, Jenny and
never mind. Never mind.
yeah, we're not going into Forrest Gump today, but that's pretty cool. And we've got some other big cast members here. We've got Toni Collette.
Oh my gosh, Toni Collette blew my mind in this movie.
She is Haley Joel Osment's character's Mother. I don't know why I said that so weird.
I only really know her and picture her from the movie Hereditary, which I have not seen.
Oh well, it's very good. I'll tell you that.
And so to see her in 1999, it was, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, Hereditary is a very gory movie.
Mm,
For the future.
Ghost?
Mm,
Oh,
Spirit.
oh my gosh. I'm, we're, sign me up.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Oh,
Um,
I see I'm signed up right here on the sign up
we
sheet.
might have it. Wait, I don't want to, necessarily say that this will be the case, but we may have a special guest for that episode. Um,
Oh, that sounds great.
who would be, of course, my lovely alive husband, Dylan.
Oh yeah. Dylan would be really
He
good.
loves that movie, and so we would have to get him on. He would not allow us to not do that. And but those are the maybe the main stars of this movie. There are some other people in the cast that we can maybe call out here and there as we go on, but one I did want to stop and mention is Donnie Wahlberg, who appears very
Mm-hmm.
early in this film, unrecognizable.
Yes. I
Honestly, you did
recognized
not
him.
you
I was like, Donnie,
I did not.
what are you
I did
doing
not
here?
recognize. I've never known that was him for one thing.
Wow.
Um, so catch me, today years dead, being
Mm-hmm.
surprised by Donnie Wahlberg being the one who plays Vincent Gray. He is a little seen, little heard from character in this movie, but he is an important character in this movie.
The Sixth Sense is also stars M. Night Shyamalan.
I'm glad you brought it up. He's in it. Yeah.
And the writer, director, it's the M. Night Shyamalan show. This was his big break as well. Like this is what made him a household name.
Um, Pretty much. He may have had something else he did before it. Make sure.
Bumpa-da-bumpa-da-bumpa-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum. Live research.
Dun, 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 dun.
M. Night Shyamalan has, created this, there's this whole, air and energy around his movies and the way they feel and the way they sound and the way the dialogue is. And I look forward to hearing what you think about how this kind of first iteration and maybe most successful iteration
For sure.
plays, knowing how, maybe incoherent some of the other movies can sound. But that's, what I've heard. This is just hearsay, really. I'm not a connoisseur of M. Night Shyamalan, even though I've seen, I saw Old, I saw Trap. So those are recent movies. Um,
Yeah. I've seen quite a few. I have not seen all of them. And I have not seen these first two, which I was pretty sure existed,
mhm.
and I'm glad I'm right. We have 1992's Praying with Anger, a dramedy. It says an
Mm.
alienated, Americanized teenager of East Indian heritage is sent back to India, where he discovers not only his roots but a lot about himself. So that's like a middling dramedy. Didn't
Middling.
get very
Oh
much
my
attention,
gosh.
judging by the scores I'm
Mm.
seeing. Um, I have not seen it. I will not judge. But we've got Wide Awake also in 1998, another movie he directed, and he was probably writing in this time too. Wide Awake is another movie with a kid
Mm.
protagonist.
Interesting. That's usually pretty daunting for you know, a movie to do.
Yeah,
It's
and it's
always
got
hard.
Dennis Leary in it, Rosie O'Donnell. It's a baseball movie.
Baseball.
A comedy. This poster says a comedy that will raise your spirits and keep you
Spirits?
laughing.
Ghosts?
I
I think
don't think
most
so. I don't
baseball
know.
movies have ghosts in them. The Sandlot, The Longest Yard.
Hmm. You forgot about the big one. You forgot about
If you build it, they
if you
will
build it, they will
ghost.
come. Yeah, they will ghost. Which maybe one day we could talk about. But
The first thing I did when I walked out of the room in which the people we haunt watch movies is I watched the trailer for this
that's
movie
exciting.
because it's famous for its twist. That's how I introduced it, a big twist movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the twist is so baked into the way the plot works and the way everything is delivered
Yeah,
that I really wondered how the trailer handled all that and what kind of footage it used and how it
for
played.
sure. Because it's
Uh,
a twist that you had spoiled, correct?
right, right. I mean, I had seen 50 First Dates,
Ages ago.
so many times, 50
The
times.
same way as a child, I had it spoiled to me,
Really?
probably.
Exact.
Yeah.
Oh,
I believe so because I
wow.
seem to remember that being one of the big reasons I disliked that movie. Even as a child, I disliked that movie.
Yeah, unnecessary
Yeah,
spoiler.
that got on my bad side.
And for those unfamiliar, in that movie, Drew Barrymore's character, forgets everything that she has short-term memory, and it was her birthday when that accident happened. So her birthday gift was the VHS copy of The
Yeah,
Sixth Sense. So every day, her brother and father have to pretend like they've never experienced the twist. And I think that that's why they picked that movie. It's not an arbitrary decision. It's because having to pretend
mm-hmm.
that you don't know is arduous. And so I think that mirrors my actual experience because I had not seen this movie before
Right.
today, but it was a little bit of a slog knowing the twist, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I was afraid that you would maybe feel that way.
Oh,
Um,
sorry to confirm.
yeah, I think it's a commonly spoiled film, actually. I think that it's up there with, you know, no Luke, I am your father. Right.
Well, speaking of iconic lines, I wondered one of the reasons I watched the trailer is because I wanted to know if the Haley Joel Osment line, I see dead people, which is the most famous line that people take away from the movie,
Yeah, you wanted to
um,
know if that was in it.
if that was in that, and it absolutely was.
Mm-hmm.
That trailer was a Haley Joel Osment character trailer. The character's name is Cole Sear. And when I saw in
Yeah.
the credits that the last name was Sear, I laughed out loud because, like, it's a little on the nose, obviously.
Yeah,
Sear.
seer. Yeah.
But the trailer, tells this story of the little boy who can see ghosts, and so it is pitched as that. And even the first moment of the trailer is one of the last scenes of the movie where Haley Joel Osment is with his mom, and it's like the scene in the car where there's crying, and it's like a big resolution scene.
Mm-hmm. They gotta tease the emotions.
But
Right.
there's very little Bruce Willis, and most significantly, um,
Interesting.
there's misleading stuff that on a subconscious level makes you as the trailer viewer perceive Bruce Willis's character differently than like the magic trick started immediately. The trailer is actually really fascinating. There's like
Okay.
deleted scenes. There's a scene of Bruce Willis almost getting hit by a car, which I do not remember from the movie.
Oh, wow.
And it's like I
That's
think on a
interesting.
subconscious way it's like if I if you see that it really just makes you it plants the character in reality. This is because we're still like at the early stage of the video in which we're uh beating around the bush, but yes, our discussion has to break the barrier of this spoiler and we have to just talk about it. And
Yeah,
so this has got to be the official spoiler warning.
for sure. How does this movie concern ghosts? This is a ghosts podcast, after
Well,
all.
We're so polite. That's good.
Thank you. But it's interesting that they play with you like that, even in the trailer.
Yeah, I think that line, "The I See Dead People," is famous because of the trailer, less than the movie. I think the trailer was more what caused the phenomenon.
Probably, you're right. I think that this is definitely like a slow one. The reason I called it a thriller, instead of maybe a horror
Mm.
proper, it's a little bit softer than some of the movies we've talked about here. And we're doing things a little bit different this season. But the way that this movie concerns ghosts, of course, is that Cole, Haley Joel Osment's character, can see them. Bruce Willis plays a psychiatrist, a child psychiatrist.
Right. And yeah, who has a failed past experience with the
That's right,
Donnie Wahlberg character.
with Donnie
Yeah.
Wahlberg.
Right.
Hmm.
Who's now like a grown-up kid who used to be his patient and who is bitter about not being treated properly.
Correct. Yes, and Malcolm Crowe is his name. Oh, and
Yeah,
there's a
Crow. The
there's a
names are a little too cheesy for me.
I know, I know. That's something with M Night that we'll run across.
I mean, that's how I name my characters in all of my things, but it's not cool when other people do it.
That's funny. Only I can be on the nose.
That's
That's how
right.
you feel. But Malcolm Crowe, there was an actress I forgot to bring up, Olivia Williams. She's really great. She plays Bruce Willis's wife, Anna Crowe. The movie opens with her going downstairs to get some wine out of the cellar, and she gets a chill.
Ah, yes. The
Yeah, this
chill.
is the
Getting
first, the
cold.
first kind of hints at something supernatural going on. And so she goes upstairs. She's celebrating with Bruce Willis, Malcolm, who just got a big plaque, big recognition for being a really damn good child psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And they're going to go upstairs and fool around a little bit. But when they do go upstairs, they see that the window's broken and Donnie Wahlberg is revealed. Probably the scariest person who could break into your house, Donnie Wahlberg. If
Mm.
it were Mark,
It was
if it were
scary.
Mark, I would recognize him immediately. But if it were Donnie Wahlberg, I might not. Especially looking like he does. Apparently, you recognized him straight away, so good on you.
Well, I have good face recognition.
For sure. He's completely naked and his hair is pretty wild in the scene. It's been, some time since Malcolm treated him. And clearly it didn't work out. He keeps saying, I was scared. I needed you to help me, stuff like that. And it takes Malcolm even a little bit to figure out which patient he was. He like goes through a couple of names until he lands on Vincent Gray, and that's another pretty on the nose last name for symbolism.
Well, it's probably the best one. That's a good name.
I do like it
As a Vernon, I like the name
for
Vincent.
sure. Another V name. But yeah, and then there's some really good psychology on play that he's trying to use to calm him down, but it doesn't work.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit. Um, it doesn't work. Vincent shoots Malcolm Crowe with a gun. And this is at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, 10 minutes in, gunshots.
Then, you know, his wife is like rushing to put her pressure on the wound, all that
Yeah, it kind of just fades out.
fades out. And we see Malcolm Crowe standing in the middle of the street. Or, no, he's sitting on a bench, right?
Yes, yes,
But
yes.
looking across the street at a building that Cole is coming out of.
Right, and it gives us a title card that says like the next
At the
fall.
next
Time
fall.
has time has passed.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed on Donnie Wahlberg he had like a patch of white hair, and immediately on Haley Joel Osment, I he has a patch of white hair, and so I thought that we were trying
Flashbacking.
that we were flashbacking. Um,
Mm,
Bruce Willis immediately is like handling papers and looks at the date, and it's September 1998, which, I'm not trying to dox you, but that's your fucking date.
right, for sure. No, that's
I
cool.
can cut that.
Dox you. Um, for real, that is maybe intentional. I don't know. This is kind of a for for as obvious as it can seem when you know the twist, it did work on a lot of people. And I think that this
Oh
movie
yeah,
is actually like pretty finely tuned and like balanced out
I
to
agree.
save this twist, to make sure that it doesn't all come together until the very end. It's kind of
Yeah, I think it's a magic trick,
yeah,
really. And
it's
there's some magic trick, themes in it, some literal magic tricks throughout. And I guess that's all on the nose too, but they reference the concept of a
for
twist
sure.
and
I mean,
that all.
Christopher Nolan does the same thing and everyone thinks he's brilliant. The
Yeah, I do
Prestige.
the same thing. It's not cool when other people do it though.
That's right. Um, and so it naturally, at the end of this movie, it's going to turn out that Bruce Willis was a ghost at the end of Sixth Sense.
Oh
And
my
we all
gosh.
jizzed in our pants. Isn't that right, Vernon?
Oh, when Bruce Willis was dead at the end of Sixth Sense. I can't
Jizzed
believe you said it.
in. Yeah,
We don't have to say it
I know.
again, Jonathan. But that is another famous spoiler.
Yes, yeah. But, like 10 years on. So,
Right. Bruce Willis is a ghost the whole time from when he gets shot,
basically.
And
And
yes, yes.
for you, from your perspective, that it must have been crazy that knowing he's a ghost the whole time, he gets shot at the very beginning of the movie.
Well, yeah, I wondered how they were going to handle it. I was wanting to know, how what the ghost rules are. You know me, Jonathan.
Yeah,
I
you
wanted to
always.
know if the wound, if I'm looking for a wound, I was looking for his clothes, what kind of clothes he was wearing.
Hmm.
I was making all that pretty quickly. Like it seems like he's wearing only what he was wearing on the last day he was
Yes.
alive, in various layers, which I
Yeah.
like those rules,
And this film has a lot of attention to details like that. It's
Yeah, the
a
for in pretty
some of M. Night Shyamalan's other movies don't have that kind of attention to detail, so it's really cool to see it here every time I come back. And a shame that I don't see it as often from him anymore.
I think this movie pulls off a lot of like lying by omission and kind of just not confirming some things and cutting away
Hmm.
and doing stuff off screen like doors. Like
Well, just like, Bruce Willis, the movie only shows us what it wants us to see.
yeah, that's one of the big ghost rules. The big scene where Haley Joel
Yeah.
Osment does the line "I see dead people." He then runs through all of these
Hmm.
rules, and I'm just writing furiously like, "Oh my gosh, it's all happening at once." But it's like an hour into the movie,
Yep.
and
Just filling out your ghost notes. Where are you gonna get more ghost paper?
I'm not afraid to get into it. We're doing it.
Yeah,
We're we're starting. We're at spoilers, and we're doing ghost rules.
for sure.
Let's play the theme song. Maybe or maybe not.
That's the theme song I came up with for right now.
I'll try to work it in. I can't promise anything.
No, no. Play the real theme
Um
song.
yeah, I'm gonna maybe. Yeah, it's a gamble.
We'll
It,
see.
the,
We'll see.
I might leave all this in and not play a theme song.
It would be really funny.
Uh, uh, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna jump. Yeah, in that scene, the famous "I see dead people" scene.
For sure.
Um, he says the ghosts don't see each other,
That's right.
which is super,
Important.
you know, important to the
Hmm.
whole thing working because it's also a twist on Bruce Willis. He
Yeah,
doesn't know that he's a ghost. And which is different than me and you, obviously. Like
for sure.
we're looking at each other right now,
Yeah, yeah. And it's something
and we
that
know
is
we're ghosts.
thought up for the twist to work, for the fiction of the film to, yeah,
Right, right.
function.
Yeah, the and it gets a little the next rule is worse, I think, for that contrivance. It says they see what they want to see. And that's like, okay, well now anything's possible. So Bruce Willis, they in the big, twist reveal, they kind of flash back and show the way things really were. And that's like I think ultimately not as satisfying.
I
Um,
like it in this case.
okay, okay.
I think that in a lot of media, there are ghosts who are kind of, confused, kind of in the same state they were when they passed.
Yeah,
That is a common ghost trope.
for sure.
And so, like, it is utilized here brilliantly, actually. I think it's less common for ghosts to be unable to see each other, honestly.
Yeah, that's a cool one. I think that the idea of being a ghost is very isolating. And like me and you, I mean, I don't currently interact with
For sure.
any other
But
ghosts.
like, in like
Huh.
say Ghost or like Paranorman, other ghost
Hmm.
movies, ghosts can talk to each other. They can say, "Hey,"
Yeah. Yeah, this movie is trying to be
or
Ghost.
maybe I'm thinking of Frankenweenie. I don't know.
Frankenweenie?
Paranorman, probably Paranorman.
Um, Definitely Paranorman's Ghost. Even if it's zombies,
Pretty
it's
sure.
Ghost AF.
Yeah, I got the right one. Sorry for interrupting.
Well, it's okay. Ghosts
But what's the third
Ghosts.
rule?
The third one was they don't know they're dead, but that's kind of like, I kind of sparkled that in. They established loads of other, rules throughout, but there's a lot of like things that Bruce Willis does that confirms what ghosts can do in this universe. Like he writes in his journal and he shuffles through papers and he listens to an old tape recorder. There's a lot of interaction and sitting down in
Yeah,
chairs. It made me think of the ghost trope of like a creaky rocking chair.
it did make me think of that as well.
And there was a scene with a creaky chair, and I was like, I'm writing that down. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, they can interact with stuff and move them. There's the scene with the cabinets that all open.
Yeah, the poltergeist scene. They do a whole one take cabinet reveal
Yeah,
where all the kitchen stuff has been moved. This movie is trying to be a lot of the classic ghost movies, like The Shining. I was feeling huge Shining vibes with the kid,
for sure.
Poltergeist.
Mm-hmm.
The mom kid relationship. She tries to help her kid by
Yeah.
taking them to the doctor. There's a classic, uh,
Oh, and as good as Bruce Willis is with Haley Joel Osment, Tony Collette is fantastic.
knocks it out of the park,
Hmm.
and it's such a iconic ghost movie role. This mother who's trying to help her child, and uh, she's running with the best of them.
Yeah, and
I,
I love in that. Well, you go on. What scene were you going to
No,
talk
I
about?
loved her. I loved her. I was struggling to connect emotionally to the movie at several points because I
Hmm.
was diligently taking notes, ghost notes, and like Bruce Willis, I felt very connected in that way in the amount of notes Bruce Willis was taking.
For sure, you were just like him in
Um,
that moment.
but the opening of the trailer scene, the scene where Haley Joel Osment admits to his mom in the car that he can see ghosts, and he describes this car accident where this bicyclist was hit, and that's the movie kind of slowly starts to reveal that ghosts show the wounds they
Hmm.
have. We start to see other ghosts, and we see like a burn victim and somebody like the lady who gets hit, the bicyclist,
That's right.
and so you're looking at Bruce Willis and you're like, he got shot in the stomach. Where's the stomach wound? And that I think is still that's in my question section, and
Well,
it's like there's a big wound out the back.
yeah. At the beginning, he says, "I think it went through before he,
Yeah, they try to
dies."
cover that. That's the line that tries. That's the
I
explanation. I think it
guess.
went all the way through,
I
but
guess.
yeah, there's a lot of scary imagery in terms of the wounds that ghosts keep,
For sure.
which is an unfortunate
You can tell
ghost rule.
yeah, pretty much how all of them died. And
Right?
not so with us, but
No,
we are both, that is, wearing the same clothes that we
we
died
are
in.
stuck in the same outfit. I like that. But I like that there was a little variation, like he could wear a college sweater that he happened to also wear that evening. Like the variety was kind of
It was a little bit loose. Yeah.
but I loved that. I loved look, it was a dream. It was the dream of wearing a sweatshirt.
That's good. Yeah, the reason Malcolm Crowe, Bruce Willis, the ghost, is drawn to this kid is because this kid has the same problem that Vincent Gray had, basically, which is that they could both see ghosts.
Yeah, that was kind of something I wondered if we're supposed to believe he can see ghosts. And that makes sense and is cool.
It is confirmed
Oh, right?
midway through the movie,
Oh, is it? In the tape record.
basically. I
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah.
confirmed in so much as something like that can be confirmed. You know,
I believe.
after he shot Bruce Willis, he committed suicide, so he couldn't, say anything else about it. But and it was a very tasteful pan. Like he points
Hmm.
the gun to his head, and then the camera pans over, and he's behind the wall now, and you hear the
Yeah,
gunshot. And
that
I was like, thanks, M Night, keep your PG-13.
yeah, it could have been worse.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah, there's this sense of not wanting to repeat past mistakes. The movie plays it
for
like he's a
sure,
child psychiatrist who's trying to help this person or this kid.
exactly.
And it all goes
Yeah,
unspoken. There's this scene where you see the mom and the kid just came home from school, and we're supposed to feel like he's coming home to the psychiatrist who's going to have a session, but really
for
he's just
sure.
hanging out in the room, and the mom is leaving like it, the
Yeah,
unspoken really does. You fill in the blanks as the audience,
it
and that
does.
is magical.
That's the magic
So
trick. There is a scene where we've been talking about the whole magic trick thing. Malcolm Crowe does a fake magic trick that's really just a joke,
with a penny,
where he pretends to do a magic trick, and he's just shaking it in one hand, and then he smacks it into the other hand, and he's like, "Now it's in this hand," but it doesn't show that it's in that hand.
yeah,
And then it's been in the same hand the whole time, and it's obvious.
that's a
So
good metaphor for this type of twist. I think that that
it is a
works.
good
I read a
metaphor.
fun fact that Michael Cera auditioned for the Haley Joel Osment role, and the
Wow.
audition scene was when later Haley Joel Osment's character reenacts the trick, the magic trick for another kid at school, and that was the
Oh.
scene that all the kids had to do. Um, and Michael Cera says he blew it. But Haley Joel Osment
That's a shame.
is perfect for this
He
and
is.
got the memo. Like I in the past, all these ghost movies have kids, and you always question how much understanding they have. Another fun fact I read is that at the audition to M. Night Shyamalan, Haley Joel Osment's like, "Yeah, I read it 3 times last night." And he's like, "You read the sides for the audition 3 times?" And he's like, "No, I read the script 3 times."
Oh my gosh.
So this kid was, excited and obviously, ahead of the curve. I think, because he gets
Well,
it.
he had been
The
acting since he was what, 5 years
I
old,
guess so.
I
Forrest
guess
Gump.
so. Yeah. So he was very professional for a kid.
And the best in the movie. There's been a little
Yeah.
bit of modern day drama with him as an actor, but this is like the legacy. This is what people remember.
Is that right? Modern day drama?
Um,
We don't have to get into it.
yeah, some anti-Semitic stuff, unfortunately.
Really? No
Yeah, like
way.
what a twist.
Wow. Shyamalan
Uh,
couldn't write it better himself. That's crazy. Wow, that's a shame. Unfortunate. Oh
I'll
well.
have to double check, and if it's true, I'll leave it. And I think we did a fine job covering this hot topic.
Wasn't he just playing like JD Vance on TV?
Hmm, that sounds perfect.
Like is playing a
Well,
parody of JD Vance.
maybe it was being interviewed for doing something recently like that got him. He said something wrong,
Maybe. Yeah, I
but
don't know.
you know, I don't know. I'm ignorant to all that. That's not really the thing. This is the
If it's untrue, we can just cut it out. But
for sure.
um
The penny magic trick also reminded me of Ghost. Ghost has the a penny that plays a relatively high emotional point in it, and I just there was I guess they were homages. It's okay to reference things, but
Yeah.
hmm,
Do you want to talk a little bit about how these ghosts are portrayed in the movie? Because mostly pretty good, I find. You
like
know,
not evil,
not intending to be threatening. They are
right?
scary, and
Uh,
that's a problem. But Malcolm Crowe being the smart ghost's child psychiatrist that he is, once he learns and pretty much figures out that this kid is seeing ghosts and it's not just some kind of hallucination, that the ghosts are real, he decides to help the kid talk to them. Well, he doesn't help them talk to them because he can't see them. He doesn't know he's dead,
yeah,
right? But he
encourages it.
he advises Cole to basically try to help the ghosts because maybe they just want help with something. That's why they keep coming to
Right.
him.
The whole like moving on thing.
That is basically what he's doing as well. He needs to move on,
Right.
and and
There's a whole thing about objects having significance and holding significance. Like I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but this Haley Joel Osment's character, his dad is dead.
yes.
Right. And so he wears his glasses and has his watch. And
hmm
there's a great bit where we see some steamy like handprints on the kitchen table as if the dad was there, I think. Like
I think
watching
that
out for them.
no, I think what that is supposed to mean is that so that's in the scene where all of the cabinets have flown open, right? And
Yeah, who's doing the cabinets?
well, it's one of the ghosts that's around. It might be the one that we see in the
I think
kitchen,
it's the
or it
dad.
could be the dad, but it might be the lady that we see in the kitchen who's got cuts on her wrists. It could
Oh,
be,
yeah, that part of the movie where we kind of get that kind of was a wash for me. I didn't absorb a lot of the other ghost stories somehow. I was taking a lot of notes.
well, did you did absorb the main one we get, right, with the sick girl, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
This
was
character is Kira Collins, played by Misha Barton. She's really good. She is one of the scary ghosts that Cole comes across, and he has to help her in a brief tangent that the movie takes. It's actually pretty interesting.
yeah, it's a little episodic in
hmm
its kind of little kid mysteries helping ghosts solve their
Yeah,
problems.
they could have made a TV show out of this, if they
Sixth
wanted to.
Sense the TV.
Yeah, but they didn't go that route, and it's maybe for the best.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, but the handprints, that's because he's hiding the ghosts that he can see, that he knows that there are ghosts around and nobody can believe him. He has to hide this thing. He has to hide that he has the sixth sense, right?
Right.
And so even his own mom doesn't know, and she is wondering why he opened up all the cabinets and how he did it so quickly and
Yeah,
silently.
getting frustrated. Right. The opposite of Poltergeist, where the parents immediately start to come to terms with the fact that there's ghosts. This
Exactly.
mom, up until that last scene in the car, is like,
hmm
"Please tell me how to help you. Stop lying to me about there being ghosts." And she's a little offended, um, by it sometimes, because which it
Yeah.
was upsetting. Um, yeah, the big scene where he convinces her made me cry. I was talking about how I was not emotionally getting so emotionally connected, but that scene really did it for me
That's
because I've
good.
actually
That's good.
had that experience where I'm not
Yeah.
joking that I've relayed a message from a ghost to my mom in the purest and most believable fashion where she believed me. And so that broke me, but on a really personal level. I loved that. And Toni Collette, I'm a huge fan now. I got to
Wow.
see some other Toni Collette movies.
But that's the scene also where she asks him, I believe, about, is it a bracelet or a
Yeah,
ring?
yeah.
What is it? Something that belonged to her mom. And
Right.
yeah, and that's another important item, right?
Yeah,
Whatever.
they're really trying to hammer that in because your understanding of the significance of an item is like paramount to the twist reveal moment really impacting. And I think that I kind of had an unfortunate double take of understanding, like a lack of understanding for the moment of the actual reveal, that I rewound to make sure I was understanding what the heck was being told to me, because quickly they jumped into flashback voiceover
For
summaries, and I'm
sure.
like, wait, whoa, it happened, we're doing it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a little bit like the flashback twist that everyone has been trying to recreate
Yeah,
for ages
maybe.
since it, like, in Joker they do something like
Oh,
this.
cringe. I know cringe is dead, but I'm dead, Jonathan.
We're Yeah, that's true. Cringe is as dead as we are, so we can still experience it.
Yeah. Oh,
But
it says they print on things. That's the on
mm,
items.
that's very common. Yeah, that's a common one.
Right. And
Um,
like using an item is how you kind of release a ghost in, your fantasy type things. This is an old amulet that this ghost used to have.
yeah, Lynn, Tony Collette, her mother, is the one who's taking the ring or the bracelet or whatever it was.
Right, it could be her mom in the
It
kitchen
could be. It could be.
looking for the ring. But whatever how it is,
Hmm.
uh yeah, the presence of other ghosts, it always makes me wonder what the rules are about the cold thing, because when Bruce Willis is hanging around it doesn't get cold all the time. Sometimes it does.
Well, when they get angry, I think is what cold set,
Mm.
or when they get
Oh.
upset, it gets cold.
A ghost rule I missed. Very
He's
good.
calmer than most ghosts. I think it's why Cole is able to talk to him, and he's too afraid to talk to any of the other ghosts.
Yeah, there are some screaming, tormented ghosts
Mm-hmm, for sure. Some
sometimes.
sad stuff, and ghosts that are just kind of reenacting their last moments, like the kid who comes out and he says, "Hey, you want to see my dad's gun?" And he turns around, and then half of his head is blown out.
Yeah, that was really upsetting.
I know, but
I did not like that. That was Toni Collette said in an interview that she didn't really realize it was a horror until she
for
saw it.
sure. Wow.
That she was thought it was more, just a drama.
Interesting.
Um, one of the weird ghost rules is the photos. Toni Collette's looking at a wall of photos that don't have the dad in them. Some of them don't, but where the dad would be, there's like wisps.
Oh yeah, I love that part.
I love it, but like what?
I mean,
I
that's
love it.
that's a ghost. That's
It's
him.
ghost stuff. It's so great, really, but it's a
It's
weird
gotta
one.
be.
Uh,
Reminds me of maybe The Ring a
Ghost.
little bit. Yeah, but we'll get to that eventually. Actually, it reminds me more of what's that movie called? Shudder.
Mm,
There's a
Ghost.
terrible American remake, but yeah, the original. I don't know which country exactly, but the original Asian horror film is fantastic, and it's got a lot of ghosts and photographs. I used to watch more Asian horror. I fell off in
Well,
recent
we're
years,
gonna
but
get
we'll get
into
back
it.
into it.
Yeah, we will.
Absolutely.
Another element of this movie is like the just like the movie Ghost, the kind of jealousy when the
Mm.
person, like his wife, they play it like they're estranged after the injury.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's
the probably the greatest bit is the anniversary dinner where they go to a restaurant, they meet at a restaurant separately, and they don't say anything, or he says stuff and she doesn't say anything, and she says happy anniversary because she's obviously going there to sell, and he's not there. Like, it's the best moment is
hmm
when somebody in the background kind of laughs and it draws her eye in a natural
That's right.
way that
That's right.
makes it look like she is looking at him
Okay.
for,
I pointed that out to my live husband
oh, that's
Dylan
great.
also when we
Yeah.
watched this film.
Um,
I was like, that's so good. That's so good.
yeah, I wrote, yeah. So we both, yeah, that was, that made me be like proud of the movie. I thought that was so great. And she was great. And it was kind of one of those really important parts to make the mystery work. Um,
For sure.
but later in the movie, she kind of has this guy who's interested in her, and I hadn't seen Ghost before, but when we watched it, I loved it so much that, this paled in comparison to that. I think focusing on, just like the trailer did, the Haley Joel Osment plot instead of the wife plot. But then again, you had to have Bruce Willis have a moving on story.
Yeah,
And so
for
that's what that
sure.
is.
Yeah, he thinks that she's cheating on him, but he's just dead,
Yeah,
which is
you might have thought I wasn't gonna bring this up, but in college I made a movie. I had not seen any of these ghost movies, and because I was a live normal
oh
person, but I
no.
made a ghost movie with you in it, Jonathan, and it is ironically
Whoa.
so The Sixth Sense. I keep wanting to say The Shining. Anyway, the, this movie did feel like a, maybe not a student film, but a much more, human, imperfect in some ways, even though the crew is stacked, actually.
It's for sure. It's doing a delicate dance, I would say, but it's
Yeah.
actually like as far as what we see on the screen, it's one of the most competently shot and framed and edited movies I think there is, honestly. Like just I wish M. Night Shyamalan still directed movies like this. He used to have the sauce. This is why people were calling him the next Spielberg because this is a
Well,
beautiful movie. I'm just looking at some of the frames here on
yeah,
IMDb.
yeah.
Oh my God.
I'll say that it does have to do with, your director of photography, and the director of photography I have here, his name is Tak Fujimoto, and he was born in 39. So he was 60 years old doing this movie.
Wow.
He also
Yeah,
was the
he
DP
brought it.
for The Happening and Signs.
Oh. Mm.
Okay, so two other M. Night movies. But apart from that, he was the DP for director of photography, cinematographer, or all synonyms, um, for Silence of the Lambs,
Ooh.
the movie Philadelphia,
Wow.
Ferris Bueller,
Okay.
the original Death Race 2000 in 1975,
David Carradine.
and he was the second unit cinematographer on Star Wars Episode 4.
What? That's wild. What a
Not to mention that Kathleen Kennedy, the producer of Lucasfilm, or the president of Lucasfilm, uh,
oh well.
produced this movie.
That's also partially why they were calling him the next Spielberg,
She
I
gets top
imagine.
billing producer on this.
Yeah. They were like, she's found a new guy, basically.
But this cinematographer, there's so much like light and shadow work in it. I wanted to ask you if it was just my ghostly aura in real life, or if like the the lights would kind of bloom bright at certain points of the movie and dim.
For sure.
Um, and if that, like, there was kind of like moments that were particularly thematic, would there would be kind of like the lights would get a little bright in the room. I think that, was that just my imagination?
Well, I didn't notice that, but I
Oh,
trust I
oh.
trust your sixth sense for the
Yeah,
lighting.
I did have the sixth sense as a living person, and I'm not kidding. And so, and of all these kids in all these movies, Poltergeist, Shining, Chucky, etc., who see ghosts and talk to ghosts, this was like the portrayal I related to the most.
That's really interesting.
There was so much emotion. I'm a big
They're good.
crybaby.
They're good people. These ghosts. They're not trying to scare the
Yeah,
kid. They're not trying to hurt him.
is there a villain? There's not even an
I
antagonist.
mean, he's got like some bullies who pretend to be
Oh
friends
my
with
gosh,
him.
the punk
Yeah, the
kid
punk
who's
kid.
like he's cocky because he's done a commercial.
Played by Trevor Morgan, Tommy
Yeah,
Tamasimo. Tomasimo.
he was in Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, that's the one he did, huh?
And you
That's
know,
a shame.
yeah, I think the persona he does in this movie is the worst performance in the movie.
Yeah, but
The bully,
it's kind
unfortunately.
of M. Night's fault. Dialogue, you know. But I do like that he has the cough syrup commercial, and I think that the actual take he does in the cough syrup commercial is very funny
Yeah, that is funny. I love fake commercials in movies.
for sure.
One line of dialogue that keeps coming back up is what the mom says when the kid is questioning, whether he's stressing her out, but she's like, "Look at my face," and she says, "Look at my face" several times.
Yeah, a lot.
Believe me, trust me, look at me.
Look at my face is her way of saying that. Yeah,
Um,
and that's a very M. Night Shyamalan ism right there.
it's kind of just how scripts work. You say a line once and you say it two more times, and then you're a good writer.
Yeah.
It's
Sometimes it is that easy.
the scene where I think Haley Joel Osment brings the best out of Bruce Willis is when Bruce Willis is like, "I can't see you anymore." Why does he say that again? Why is Bruce Willis quitting?
Oh.
And Haley Joel Osment like begs him, like, "You're the only one I can talk to." It's really emotional.
Well, he thinks that he's going to have to like either stop seeing this kid or get he thinks that he's going to fail this kid, and he thinks that either he's going to have to get this kid like committed somewhere
Mm,
or just I don't know, maybe he's making the problem worse.
yeah,
But he does, yeah, and he listens to the tape and he realizes that just like Vincent Gray, he must really actually be seeing ghosts. And then they go on this adventure. He meets the sick girl, Kira, and he meets the Collins family. He goes on the bus by himself because there's a ghost next to him, you
yeah,
know.
like Chucky.
Uh, and he goes on the bus to a wake where Kira died, and
Right, he solves the whole murder mystery.
he solves the whole murder mystery. So what happened here was that Mrs. Collins, she's wearing like a very beautiful red dress at the wake, and she's like soaking in all this attention. It becomes clear why after Greg Wood, playing Mr. Collins, is gifted a very conveniently placed tape that shows his wife, Mrs. Collins, played by Angelica Page, credited as Angelica Torn. She has been poisoning the kid. It's
No,
Munchausen's by proxy.
man.
And he comes in and he has one of my favorite bits in the movie. It just zooms in on his face and then it zooms in on her. Everybody's looking at her because multiple people have seen the tape at the same time as him. And she's like turning around, like, what's going on? And it's just him, is this bald, sad man being like, you were keeping her sick.
Yeah.
Crazy drama. Very episodic, like you
Yeah,
said.
it was that took me out of it. I was like, get on with it. But then suddenly the movie's ending. There's some arc about the kid, being on a play. He's King Arthur, the sword and the stone suddenly.
Yeah, he gets a better role than
Right.
Tommy, who did the cough syrup commercial, and
Yes.
he plays the village idiot in this play. So he doesn't even put any effort into it. He's just like going through his
There's a
lines.
nice bit where Bruce Willis is watching the play and all the other parents have camcorders and he's the only one
Mhm.
without one because he's
Oh.
a ghost.
Uh, yeah.
This kid has a shrine, a tent in his room of like religious idols that he's stolen from maybe various churches and places. Um,
Yeah, this is an interesting bit here. Yeah, he keeps stealing them from the church, and they're to protect him. He's just taking whatever he can find to protect himself because he still doesn't know at that point what these ghosts are haunting him for. But as soon as he finds out he can help them, he does, and he talks to them, and he gives them companionship and helps them move on to another place. And soon it is that time for Bruce Willis as well. And here's a funny, maybe, rule of the movie. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if it's a ghost rule, but Haley Joel Osment's character Cole, he says to fucking Malcolm, maybe you should try to talk to your wife when she's asleep. You know, sometimes it's
Mm.
easier to talk to people when they're asleep because he has a scene earlier in the movie where he talks to
Mm.
his mom when she's asleep,
Yeah, that's nice.
right? And that's him subtly, I think, trying to help Malcolm realize that he's a ghost.
Right. So does Haley, okay, does Cole realize the whole time that he's talking to a ghost?
He realizes the whole time. There's many moments where it's obvious that he's talking about one thing, but Malcolm's talking about another.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool.
He says, "I'm not going to see you anymore, am I?"
Yeah, that's for the psychiatrist session thing, that's a great double entendre.
Yeah, but he's talking about, "I've solved your problem. You helped me with what you couldn't help your last patient with." Because even Malcolm Crowe kind of crosses a professional boundary here, but he tells Cole that he really cares about him because he's sad. Cole asks him why he's sad, and he says that he's sad because he had a patient that reminds him of Cole, that Cole reminds him of a lot, right? And it didn't go well, and kind of ruined his career and it ruined his marriage. At least
Yeah.
that's how he sees it. He only sees what he wants to see. But Cole's had to have been seeing, the blood stain on his back the whole time. And
Right. Yeah.
I think it's just that he happens to be a child psychiatrist. Cole can have this connection with a ghost for the first time who seems calm and collected and can hold a conversation with him.
Gosh. Yes,
You
and
know,
now we've arrived.
yes. End of the movie. He talks to his wife when she's asleep, and she's like, "Why did you leave me?" And he's like, "I didn't leave you."
That was nice.
Yeah. He's like, "I didn't leave you. What are you talking about?" And then the other ring drops.
Yeah.
Am I right? She drops his wedding ring and it rolls on the floor. And it's this great pan over to his hand where the ring is missing. And he's like, "Well, that's weird." And then it all starts coming together.
Well,
The
that's
flashbacks,
weird.
the flashbacks roll in from there.
They roll it. I This
Hmm.
was the double take that I got a little confused at. That I was like, "Whoa, we did it.
Yeah,
We just did the reveal."
It's happening
The ring drops. It wasn't like I didn't see it in her hand. It wasn't so explicit. I think, maybe I found fault with it. It didn't totally
well.
work for me.
You can see that she's got her ring on already,
Yeah, they never like yeah, him not having the ring or some like yeah, I never thought about his wedding ring, and so I think it does work, but it did catch me off guard even though I was like waiting for it. It had a unique effect.
for sure. It's
It,
a
you
little
know,
thing. It's a little thing that turns into a big moment, and I think that that is what you want from a twist like this, essentially. And a lot of people
yeah.
have tried to recreate it. You know,
It's hard to say whether or not it's impossible to say what my reaction would be if I didn't know. And so few people really got to experience, even people who were movie watchers in 1999
for
went
sure.
into the movie theater with it spoiled.
Yep, it's a shame. But also, I think that if there is somebody out there who hasn't seen the movie and it hasn't been spoiled for them, uh,
I hope they didn't listen to this really good
whole
podcast.
podcast about it. Yeah, I hope they heeded the spoiler warnings
Before we were watching it, because I'm such a note taker, I begged you to take notes. And your response, because you had seen the movie, but just because you're
many
you
times.
said, "Ah, what do I need to take notes on? They got feet."
Yeah, the ghosts got feet. That's the ghost rule I came up
The
with.
main ghost rule. Do they or do they not have feet?
You know, floating apparitions, right? What did
Yeah,
we call the
exactly.
vaporous
Which we
apparitions?
are.
Ghost. That's what they say in
Yeah,
Ghostbusters.
vaporous.
They're not,
But the word floating is in that the full torso vaporous wait, full floating torso? Ah, you know
yeah, I'm not
what?
sure exactly
It's
what they
okay.
fucking.
Maybe they'll repeat the line in Ghostbusters 2, verbatim.
Probably get all the hits in there.
I just got the hits in there.
Uh,
All right. Well,
yeah, and he finds out he's dead. There's this whole cellar. One bit is that there's a cellar that he tries to get in throughout the movie. He's like, why is this cellar locked? And
right.
then and then he sees that there's just like a desk with a bunch of books on it that's been in front of the cellar this whole time.
Yeah.
He only sees what he wants to see.
I guess because I was wondering about how the rules on doors work. Ghost, the movie, made a big deal about passing through doors. And this movie had a couple times where he went for that doorknob to the cellar and it didn't work. And I assumed, I don't know what I assumed, but
I guess
the,
he can open doors if a
yeah,
ghost can
he
open
can go into
cabinets.
buildings, but it's kind of
Yeah.
all off screen, so you don't really think about it.
He probably, lets Cole grab the handle
There could, yeah, I don't, there was probably one or two moments like that where Cole is leading or something, I bet, but I didn't catch any.
for sure.
Okay. Did this movie hold up for you, having seen it before, Jonathan?
Uh, I think so. I do know that the twist seems a little obvious. I really don't know if I would have seen it coming had it not been spoiled for me. Probably not as a kid. Probably as a kid, I would have been pretty
Yeah,
surprised.
I think it would have been good to see as a kid. Um,
Yeah, it was definitely good to see as a kid.
I wish I had, and I could have,
Yeah,
kind of.
and yeah, I was kind of bullied like Cole's character was when I was
Yeah?
a young kid, so I think I related to that.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's, still probably the best M. Night Shyamalan movie. It's got some things springing up here and there that will be like there are things that we could point at in this and be like, those are going to be problems for M. Night Shyamalan 2 movies from now and forward from there.
Hmm.
Every movie
Mm-hmm.
forward. but but like this one is pretty class, you know, pretty controlled, pretty. And I have to assume that is because it's his first big hit movie. Like I said, there were 2 other movies he did before this, but this is his first big Hollywood movie. And it's like lightning in a bottle, honestly. The lightning did strike twice for him. Unbreakable
Mm.
is also very, very good. And I maybe like the twist in that movie better. I think you should watch it, Vernon.
Mm.
But
Ghost?
no ghost.
Oh, well, I got a tight schedule.
Well,
Um,
just think, you can watch after you get done watching Unbreakable, you can watch Split and Glass. Please,
I'll watch the lady in the lake, the lady in the
you
water,
should not watch Split or
Ghost,
Glass,
Ghost.
honestly.
I'll watch Trap, confirmed Ghost. I
For
already saw it,
sure.
but I'll watch that again. That was pretty good. The music slapped.
Yeah, we're gonna watch those for the cast,
All
Vernon.
right,
But
Jonathan.
you need to watch, you know, M. Night Shyamalan's only other good movie, maybe. Some people like
You're
science. Some people
right.
like science. And I like science for what it's worth.
Yeah. Mel Gibson fans.
I am a Mel Gibson fan, unfortunately.
Okay, okay. It's time to skip to the extraneous crew facts.
Okay, that's good. What
Okay.
do we got?
Let's see.
How do you think those special effects held up?
Yeah, the special I skip. Yeah, you're right. How did I think? Well, there weren't any wispy ghosts animated
No, nothing like that. It
stuff.
was
It was
mostly
all just prosthetic wounds, and they were
pretty good.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. The editor of this movie edited the movie Chocolat and What's Eating Gilbert Grape
Oh
and The
no.
Mummy 2017, The Mummy, and no other M. Night Shyamalan movies. Okay, so
Huh.
the editor, congratulations, Andrew Mondsheen.
Ow. The Mummy. That's got Tom Cruise in it.
I know, Tom Cruise.
Interesting.
And Ghosts.
Just
The
about
Mummy is Ghost
just
AF.
about two of the scariest things you could have in a movie.
Tom Cruise and Ghosts. It's hard to imagine.
But we don't try to
Um,
be scary. We only see what we want to see.
that is true. Maybe that is one of our ghost rules.
How would we know?
I wouldn't know. Maybe because we can see each other. Maybe it's because we
I guess
died in that same incident.
yeah, both tragic and comical. We'll let you in on it
Yeah,
one day.
we'll talk about it someday.
Yeah, it's too embarrassing
Um,
right now.
okay, the art director, somebody named Philip Messam, and the composer, James Newton Howard, both worked on all the Hunger Games
Oh,
movies.
that's
So
pretty
this has the
cool.
same art direction and composer as the Hunger Games. Um,
It's got pretty good music. The Sixth Sense theme that like plays in the credits
yeah.
and throughout the movie. It's pretty solid. Pretty creepy,
Interesting. Well, I'm
crawly.
about to shit on it. I want to
Oh.
hear your side.
All right. Well, I think that it's low key and it very much works
Yeah.
for a thriller drama like this that tugs
Yeah.
on your heartstrings a little bit.
I think it's using the high keys, the really loud, high
Yeah.
pitched,
Yep.
horrible high
Yeah.
keys, if I'm being perfectly honest. If I'm being high key,
This
hating on it.
this is gonna be
Okay.
a problem with most horror movies, and you, unfortunately.
This composer did The Village,
Okay,
Split,
okay,
Signs, and Unbreakable.
okay.
Okay.
So pretty much
But
a lot of them, almost all of them,
some fun other ones like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, Treasure Planet, and Atlantis: The Lost Empire.
wow, all
But the
staples of my childhood
all
for sure.
staples. Yeah, Shark Boy and Lava Girl. But the one that I want to hit on is the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh,
Okay, which I personally hate. Not the movies, but the soundtrack. Like the Dark Knights, like that's the second one. The Joker's
buh, buh, buh,
themes.
buh.
Yeah, that theme song's pretty baller. But the
Okay.
Joker theme song is like strings, screaming, tension. And I thought from the get go, this movie was basic AF with its fake tension music score. I thought the score sucked, and
Hmm.
I hated it.
Little too Zimmery for your taste.
And I didn't know that he worked on the Dark Knight movies. I know that. Are you saying Hans Zimmer did the Dark Knight?
I mean, he did. Yeah, he did music for The Dark
Well,
Knight.
this person worked on them.
Yeah, yeah,
That's as much as I can say. Um. Anyway, yeah. This is my maybe a little too aggressive segue into my sound sensitivity,
for
and
sure.
because I'm
You
always
know,
looking out for a horror movie that can achieve the tension levels without blowing out my ears.
yeah. And unfortunately, this one is not going to pass the test, just like pretty much
No,
every other one that we've talked about,
I
except
have some numbers. I kept tallies. Now, last week on the Nightmare on Elm Street, the tallies made me overwhelmed, and I wrote the infinity symbol and just enjoyed the movie,
for
the
sure.
rest of it, or the third half. But this movie, I did not fail in keeping tallies, and I have some ridiculous numbers in the category of screams, which covers both the high pitch music cues and literal screams. There were 49 screams.
Mm,
There was only 8 eatings, but there were 41 kitchen noises. So that's
mm,
like forks and plates. There was
yeah,
a whole emotional scene at the dinner
for
table.
sure. Not a lot of eating going on there, but in the background,
Not a lot of eating, but some eating. Another thing, fucking, the movie had no ADR. Not that that's a problem, but it was
quiet.
very like intimately
Yeah.
recorded. It's Cole and Malcolm talk whispering at each other and the
So
mics,
it's
it's just very very
uh,
intimate.
quiet and then loud. Not great.
And then there's a lot of background, like the movie has a tendency to fill the background with groups of people making noises, kind of like clinking and just having a full soundscape, which, as far as I am concerned, can jog on. Uh,
For sure. Yeah.
there was the puke and the gun and the an alarm bell, a dog. There was 8 dog sounds, and now I'm
Oh,
done. I'm
jeez.
sorry, I'm done.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I hate sounds. Ghosts
Yeah, yeah,
hate
it's okay.
sounds.
And I can see why you think it's a little generic. Uh, in a lot of moments, it's pretty typical thriller sounds. And so, it's got stuff like that. And it's like, but I think that the main theme is very strong.
I'll give it to you. I don't
Um,
remember it.
which is
I was hard to please,
all right. Yeah. I think it comes with having seen the movie a lot.
for
The
sure.
main theme is very subtle. It's not like a lot of other well, I guess it's a more modern horror movie theme, right?
Us, yeah, somewhat, for sure. Only 25 years.
Well, it's more modern than a lot of the movies we've talked about is what I mean, I
That's
guess.
true. It's true.
We've talked about quite a few 80s, some older. Um haven't done that many recent movies so far, but we've only gotten 11 episodes in counting this one.
Well, speaking of when movies came out, this is my segue into the dates portion.
Great. Perfect.
This is a cool date. This is a great one. And they did it on purpose, obviously. This movie came out on August 6th, and that's M. Night Shyamalan's birthday.
Oh, happy that was a happy birthday gift for him.
Yeah, yeah, and this is the only one of his movies to do that. So I guess it either worked out or he just wanted it to be special. This movie came out on the same
Cool.
day as the movie Mystery Men, which I've never seen.
I
But I bet when Ben Stiller thinks of this movie, The Sixth Sense, he gets a little bitter.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I have seen Mystery Man. It's pretty funny. It's all right.
I did a little research on the box office. This was a huge summer in the history of movies. Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, The Matrix, The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, uh,
For sure.
all came out.
The Good Mummy.
This was the third highest grossing movie of the summer. Second, well,
Mm.
first was the Star Wars movie. Second was the Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Oh
This
wow.
movie,
Yeah.
The Sixth Sense, made $182 million that summer, but it made way more in DVD sales.
Absolutely.
Um,
Always the case with Shyamalan.
and The Matrix only made 39 million that summer. It did bad kind of, but then the DVD sales. DVD was huge that year.
Yeah.
But
DVD. That's how they used to sell
The
it.
Sixth Sense became the second highest grossing DVD of the year.
Amazing. Wow, yeah.
And the first one was Star Wars,
Oh, of course.
which I do. Yeah,
Yeah, you got that probably.
those are my dates
Yeah. Excellent. And we
and
got
my
the box office in there as well.
and my box office.
Yeah. Uh yeah, massive success. Um he would not have the same success again ever, really. Maybe
Mm.
Signs got similar sales, but I don't know about Unbreakable. It is really good though. And wow, yeah. I don't know if I had something I was gonna say there or not, but we could
Yeah,
move on.
take your time, Jonathan. What is sum it all up for me. We just did the podcast for The Sixth Sense. We're ghosts. I mean, this is one of the most quintessential ghost movies there
It
is of
is.
this of the last 50 years.
Well, I still really like it, you know.
Yeah.
I've seen it a bunch of times. I remember what I was going to say. What I was going to say is that even though it might be a little obvious looking back, uh, Many people have had it spoiled for them. It's a very popular movie. It's a spoil. I think that it's fun to watch knowing the twists. I do. I think that
Yeah,
it's fun to like look at the things that it's doing to make that dance work. And that is
you're right.
every time you watch it after the first time. Uh if it's not spoiled for you before the first time, like it was for us.
I did have a pretty good time watching the magic trick. It was
Unfold.
it was it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe the prestige is better though. I don't know.
Oh my god, well that's about magic. So a little on the nose.
Yeah. But it's also got a big twist. I don't know. You'd have to tell me
Yeah.
which one
Yeah.
holds up better for you.
Uh Ghosts?
No.
Maybe.
I mean,
Prestige?
it's got a clones.
Just fucking spoiler. I'll cut that one out. I can, I can say any other word other than
That's
clothes.
not really the twist.
Isn't
There's
it?
a lot going on.
Oh my god, no. The clothes is the twist,
It's
Jonathan.
the it's the Clone Wars.
All right, you're giving me the wave to go into Ghost Book.
Hmm.
Oh, you're familiar with a ghost book, aren't you, Jonathan? Ghost books are when humans, living people, leave, they prop a book open, and every time they're walking through the room, they flip a page so the ghosts that are haunting them can read the next one.
Yeah, I am
Uh,
I am familiar with the Ghost book. I haven't flipped through one that was left out for me in a while, I'm sorry to say. So Vernon, you'll have
I
to tell
know,
me
yeah.
what the Ghost book has been lately.
It was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein,
Oh,
a thin book. It was, propped open, with very delicately,
wow.
uh, but very gay. It's about a man who wants to make the perfect man and really, really loves what he sees in other men
Yeah,
and is all alone.
I have heard that there is a lot of that. And I mean, it was written by a young girl's perspective, right?
That's true. That's true. So there is that side. But
Not to make any assumptions about her sexuality,
for sure.
but
But it's a really interesting read, and it's definitely like, life and death type stuff. Uh a lot of haunting imagery. So pretty good. And it had, nothing to do with the Guillermo del Toro new Frankenstein movie,
for sure.
which it has the Bride of Frankenstein. Bride of Frankenstein is how you usually get the gay out of your Frankenstein story.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So I don't know
But
if they're going to be doing that. If Oscar Isaac is going to be secretly in love with Christian Bale.
one can only hope. Bride of Frankenstein is pretty cool, though, all things considered.
Oh, yeah, like design wise.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you're looking for a good female monster, there you
Mhm.
go. Bride
Yeah.
of Frankenstein, classic.
Yeah, I think the new DC creature commanders or commandos, the Bride of Frankenstein is like one of the main characters.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, that's really awesome. I have never read the actual text of Frankenstein. I believe I read a for kids kind of version of it when I was younger though. And good story. Good stuff.
All right, Jonathan,
All right,
how
back up.
to sum it all up, no rush getting off the show. How's your afterlife been?
Oh, well, I haven't been doing a lot of reading lately, but I have been getting into some ghostly gaming sessions on my
Oh, you
ghostly
you
Switch, which sometimes is also left out for my benefit. It's cool that we live with some superstitious folk, Vernon. Pretty
yeah,
cool.
we're lucky.
Yeah,
I would say, it always helps to have some humans who want to connect with ghosts. That's kind of why we're doing the podcast.
that's kind of what
We'd
The Sixth
love,
Sense was all about.
yeah. So if anybody out there has the sixth sense, you know,
Right.
reach out.
Yeah, subscribe. we're making it so that, anyone can hear this podcast, but it's easy to get your voice caught on tape if you're a ghost, unfortunately, as we saw in the movie.
Yeah, if you're a ghost, I would love to talk to some other ghosts.
For sure. That would be cool because they're pretty tired of talking to me all goddamn day.
I am.
Not even deny it. That's great. But my afterlife, same old. A lot of waiting
Yeah.
around, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
floating, passing through objects, and occasionally playing some ghostly games on a ghostly Switch.
Right, did
Right
you
now
want to
I'm
say a game? Sorry, yeah,
yeah, I'm
sorry.
playing. No, it's all good. I'm playing Celeste.
Is that ghosty?
Well, there's ghosts in it.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
we'll talk about it one day. But
Yeah,
I'll
I
just
think there's a
say
lots of ghost games we could talk about someday.
for sure, in a different format perhaps. But
Mm-hmm.
right here, I'll simply say thumbs up. Pretty good.
Nice, nice. That's a good review. Two ectoplasmic thumbs up.
Yeah, they're dripping.
Oh,
I
Jonathan,
gotta
we
I
gotta.
gotta
We're
wipe
gonna
this
have
on
to.
something.
We're gonna have to.
Here,
Here, here.
give
Got
me your
no.
pocket.
I can use. Okay.
Give me your pocket.
Jonathan. Now my little shirt pocket is covered in goo.
Yeah, yeah. But my thumbs are all better.
That was great. Happy to be a part of it.
You're welcome. How's your afterlife been?
Thank you. Well, earlier I said that you were the only ghost I talked to, but I actually do talk to other ghosts. I talked to my uncle. We were playing the Oblivion remake.
No.
That was sick. I talked to my next door neighbor, Evelyn. Love her.
Hmm.
She's a ghost. Um, you know, I'm not that lonely.
Well, that's weird. None of the ghosts in my extended dead family talk to me. Ugh,
Well,
bunch of Anglicans.
I'm talking to my uncle, not my ancestors.
Well, I'm not trying to talk to my ancestors. I'm just trying to, you know, talk to Pappy.
Damn Anglican.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why they're passing me up. It's because I'm, you know, a little what's the word where you're in between?
Emotionally closed off. Oh,
Well, there's that,
no,
but dying will do that to you. No, I'm
yeah.
talking about I'm agnostic, you know.
Oh, well, I don't know if that's playing a huge factor in my communication with my uncle and my neighbor. I think I'm just being an open channel,
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
with my extended family, it would.
Yeah, extended family,
Open channel, you said?
Yeah, I'm just being, I think I was really asking for it. You gotta really, invite people. That's why I'm not talking to other people because nobody's inviting me to anything.
Maybe we gotta find a medium.
Oh my
Like, well,
gosh.
that's better for talking to living
Well,
people.
that would be cool too, but I would love some mediums in the chat. That would be great.
Yeah. If you have made it this far into the podcast, you are a true believer, and you should spread that belief everywhere. Tell all your friends that ghosts are real today, and you've got two of them right here. Solid evidence. Exhibit A, Your Honor. Like
I
and
like that.
subscribe.
I
Yeah,
like it. I
thank
hit the
you.
like button on that one. Right here at the end. You got me.
Yeah, leave a comment. Let us know if you think The Sixth Sense has an obvious twist or not. How's
That's a
that
pretty good
for a
one.
comment you could leave?
Also, if after you have liked this video, you could immediately go find a video with 1 million views and then like it, that would actually really help.
Yeah, you said that last time. Is that
Because
like
it's
a
true, Jonathan.
that's a special trick?
Because it's
Never heard that
true.
before. I'm just saying I never heard that before. That's interesting.
I made it up, but it sounds like it could work. Let's try it.
Okay, all right. Well, the algorithm works in mysterious
I
ways.
make up everything. It's all made up. Except the ghost part, except the never ending infiniteness
Mm-hmm.
of the afterlife.
No, yeah, that's all real.
But me having friends,
Oh, you got me.
I thank you, Jonathan. You got me.
And with that,
Yeah, let's get the hell out of here.
you have been listening to
To Deadpan
Deadpan fucking
Ghosts.
Ghosts season
Boo.
2. And
Perfect.
this marks the end of our communion with the living. Say goodbye to the dead. Vernon, you want to take us on out of here?
All right. Peace and love, everybody.
Peace and love.
Whoa.